to Money Talk Tuesday. Like I said, each week I do a new training on a topic that you've requested and voted on in the group. And in fact, if you have not voted on October's trainings, go ahead and do that. It's pinned to the top of the group. Okay. In for tonight. So if you joined today, you probably felt like, okay, you want to achieve some of your wealth goals, but it always feels like the money has to go somewhere else, right? In fact, you may not even have clarity as to what to do next. Okay. And this is something that I find a lot that happens a lot with most people, because we're just living our lives. We're in our day to day. We're trying to get the kids to school. We're trying to, clean a house. We're trying to do all the things that those things that we do during the day, right? And so sometimes those bigger goals, they're definitely important. We definitely want to achieve them, but they just don't seem to prioritize as high in the day, right? And so we have to find a way to take those big goals and bring them into our day to day and feel like they're at that same level. And so tell me, I want to know in the comments if you, as you jump on, say hi for sure. And then also tell me in the comments, and if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put in the comments what your next wealth goal is. What is this big goal that you really want to achieve, that maybe sometimes you feel like you're not able to? I want to know in there, and I will use them in the comments. I have the comments here, so I'll be looking. I'll use them as examples as we go through everything tonight. So, while you guys are commenting that, let me introduce myself for some of our new members. We always have lots of new members. My name's Erica Delicata. I am the coach. I'm a wealth coach, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Spending Method. So I've been developing my proprietary method after working with so many moms trying to figure out the best way to help them achieve wealth and financial freedom in their life. I'm on a mission. This is literally my life's work. I want to help moms inject intentionality into their money systems and into their life so that they can achieve wealth for their families. And I know it's possible. I'm literally on this journey with you guys, okay? So let's dive into this. Like I said, as you jump on, please say hi. Let me know you're here and let me know what your next big wealth goal is, so that I can kind of give you some examples as I'm going through this, okay? And I'm sorry if the frames are skipping. I don't know why that's happening whenever I do this recently. So let's dive into this a little bit to that. So before we can talk about the future goals, we're going to have to take a step back and we're going to have to look at the past. Um, Wealth is an emotional thing, okay? What we can what we can actually do is use our past financial achievements to help us achieve our future goals. And because wealth is emotional, I want you to think back through your life. Think back through major achievements and really trace the emotions, not so much how much money or the specifics. I really want you to trace the emotional feeling. For example, when I think back to on my wealth journey, one of the first things that jump out at me is, my very first apartment that we had. It was a one bedroom and it had a walk-in closet. And I don't know what it was about a walk-in closet, but something to that just spoke to me. That was it. Like I was okay, I was officially not a student, you know, and starving, and that I could, afford a one bedroom. I mean, it wasn't super expensive, and it honestly, looking back, it wasn't super nice, but at the same time, the emotions I felt with it. I can literally close my eyes and still visualize all of that. And I visualize how I felt when I signed that lease, and when we moved into that apartment. And so, really tracing back the emotions, think back through that. There's lots of those types of achievements that they might be, financial. There's usually some kind of financial aspect to it. But think really about the emotions. What's the achievement? What happened that made you feel this way? And so, what I like to do is I actually have clients, some clients, not everyone. If you're visual, this will help. Draw out a timeline. of your life or of your 20s or your 30s or 40s, whatever it is. But draw out a timeline and actually brainstorm this. Like if I was drawing mine, I would probably have my first apartment when, I was 20. It wasn't my first part, it was the first one that I felt that was important to me. And I see more people are jumping on. Like I said, say hi, let me know you're here when you're jumping on, and let me know what those big wealth goals are that you're working towards. So, but if I was drawing mine, I'd say, that first apartment, my first home purchase, um, that would be on there. We were trying to get out of a really a bad apartment complex, and so the feelings of having control and not worrying that people can just come into my apartment whenever they want. My first car that I purchased in my name and paid it off, my beautiful Kia, and it ended up getting in an accident, which is, oh, I hated that, because I love that car, and still to this day I love that car. But you see what I mean? Like these things on a on a timeline, you can trace those emotions, the feelings you get, not so much the money, not so much that, the feelings you get when you accomplish something. What feelings were those that brought up for you? And when you're doing this, you should be able to draw out themes and values and that seem to connect all of these. For example, in my case, the biggest thing that really pulled out of that was my independence. Anything where I felt independent or I felt in control of my outcomes, the control over my life. And so when I felt those types of things, that's what brought those feelings up for me. That's what really made me feel um, connected to that. And so doing that and really diving into your history and figuring out and drawing that out. And, I work with my clients a lot on this because usually these things are pretty deep and you don't really realize it right away what it is. We're not usually, if you're not connected to it, you're not going to have self-awareness. And most of my clients are not connected to it and have no self-awareness about it. And so it's usually a process to pull these types of things out. But the important thing is by the time they get to phase 3 of my intentional spending method, we've done a lot of work on this, and we're really coming to a definition of what wealth means to you, what wealth means to them. And then we can use that, what that definition, what wealth really means for you in your life as a compass to contentment. Because that's what wealth is. It's that feeling of contentment. It's that feeling like I have what I need. I have what I want. I am happy. I have joy. This is good, right? And so using that, you can use your past as that compass. So as you're trying to achieve future goals, you can say, okay, yeah, that totally aligns with what I know of myself. That totally aligns with what I know to be true about what I really want in my life. Okay. And so emotionally connecting to your wealth goals will help bring it into the day to day, which is very, very important. Because, like I said at the very beginning, if you are not, it's hard to connect to those big goals when you have the day to day things going on, when you're trying to pay the bills, pay the electric bill, you're trying to get to work, paying for gas, all these things are happening. It's hard to kind of bring that down to the same level and the same importance and prioritize it. And so, if you're going to be able to do that, we definitely need to remember those past ones and help that bring that into the day to day. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense, if you're getting this, um, if you're actually hearing through this, because it's telling me the frame rate is too low for some reason. So I really hope it's coming through. Let me know. Now, next thing that we want to do. So, like I said, if you want to be able to achieve your big wealth goals, it's got to be able to compete with those needs, those day to day. I've got to pay the bills. I've got to eat. I got to take care of my kids. It's got to be able to compete. It's got to be able to be prioritized. How do you do that? Well, we were going to break those big goals down into very, very small steps. And so, because we want it to compete with our daily lives, goals like, I want to pay off a credit card that's, maybe $1,100. I want to pay off $1,100 credit card. I want to save $500. I want to, um, anything that's like those smaller goals. And you can even go smaller than that if you need to. It depends on the person. But for this example, let's use those two. Those types of things like paying off a, $1,100 credit card or saving $500 to $1,000, those things are going to be able to compete with your day-to-day needs and those types of things way better. And you could prioritize it way better than you can to say, hey, I want to get out of debt. Hey, I want to save 30,000 for a down payment on a house. Those types of things, right? Because those big things, those are like, okay, that's too big. I'm not going to be able to do that this month. So I'm going to make sure I have this paid, and I will think about that next month, and hopefully there's extra money for that big 30,000 I'm trying to save. No. But if you break it down and you make it smaller and you say, okay, I'm saving $500 this month, and then you want to, that competes better. You're like, okay, well, I can actually make some different decisions this month, and I can come up with half of that. I can find half of that this month, or a third of it, or whatever it is. But when it's smaller, it competes. It can be prioritized. It can make it to where you can achieve it a lot easier. Okay. Now, in phase three of my intentional spending method, what I work on with my clients is creating their focused action plan. This is like a document that I create that it will literally, it breaks down and helps you stay focused to achieve any wealth goal. Literally, like once we're done, you can put any goal you want in there and redo it, and it will help you stay focused and achieve it. And so part of that is really breaking, like I said, the first part of that is planning, and we're breaking it down. We're breaking that, taking that big goal that you want to do. Let's say you want to buy a house, and we're going to break it down. And we're going to create a path forward, a very, very clear path forward. Okay. And so when you break it down and you can prioritize it in your daily life, we literally are able to get so much freaking clarity. And this is what my clients do when we break this down, when we work on this action plan, when we break it down into these very clear steps, you're literally becoming to where you're checking off a list by the time we're done. Literally a list. That's what I give you. We have a list. We check it off. We prioritize it and we do that. Now, there will be times that we will review it. Once you achieve one of the things, you can review it and say, okay, how is this going against maybe other life events? Maybe you have a kid. That might change priorities shift. That will shift your priorities slightly, right? That happened to me when we had our third. That shifted our priorities and changed things up for us. And so that will happen as well. But it's so much easier once you're able to literally see that clarity of the step forward where you literally never not know what the next step is to achieve your big goal. And it stays with you in the day to day when you're making money decisions. That's also the important thing to remember, is that we're making small money decisions all the time. And when we can bring those goals into our day to day, that can also influence our decisions. We are going to spend less money on things that maybe don't provide that contentment, don't provide the happiness, the wealth that we want, and we'll instead prioritize our goals. And so that is one of the things that is so very important, is that we have to bring that into your daily life. Okay. I'm hoping this is making sense. Like I said, drop it in the comments. Tell me if this is making sense to you. Tell me what you think, one of the things that you could break down, from your big goal. What could be one of the smaller goals that you could break down and start prioritizing? So I'm going to give you guys a second for that. Because like I said, I'm still getting over things, so I'm gonna need more um drink tonight. All right. So now let's talk about wealth focus. What is wealth focused? I mean, that's the name of the group. And so if you've been here for since I changed it, you probably know a little bit more about this. But I want to, over the next month or so, I really want to dive into this and really give you guys clarity on what that means. What does it mean to be wealth focused? How does that, why is that something you want to be? Why do you want to be wealth focused, right? So being wealth focused means that you can see the long game, okay? You understand that wealth is a lifelong journey. There's no start and end. It's just a journey. And with that means that there are good things and bad things that are going to happen on that journey, right? We all have them and they look different for everybody and there's different levels, right? Sometimes it's really, really bad. Sometimes it's not so bad. We all have it, right? But being well focused means that you understand that nothing worth having is easy, and we forget that. A lot of times we forget that, that, and it's almost cliche, and I know that it's cliche. I know that when I'm saying this, but it's so true, and I can't get past that part of it. Is that told you it was coming. Nothing worth having is easy. If it is coming easy, then great. In the moment, that's great. It will not be a permanent thing. It will not be a permanent, easy ride. This journey is not easy, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to, you don't have to feel like you're constantly set back and you're constantly hitting everything, right? On the way down. So, but you got to put in the work, right? We got to show up. We got to put in the work. So, sorry. So this is where we come back to being well focused. So there's a mindset with this. Mindset when you're building wealth is first of all understand you're building wealth, that is your journey, that is your goal, that is what you're trying that you're achieving um day in and day out. That is what's happening. When you're doing that, you're welcoming the obstacles. They're going to happen anyway. You might as well just say hi to them and welcome them. Say, "Come on in." It's going to happen anyway. You might as well. You could fight against it, but it's usually harder if you do. So welcome those obstacles in. Welcome those struggles. Use them as opportunities to grow and to get wisdom, to learn things about life, about yourself, about how to handle things. I'll give you a fantastic example of this. One of my very, very early clients, and when we first got started, and she was everything kept happening. There was constantly a fire whenever we'd have a session. And I was a newer coach at the time too. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, another fire. Let's deal with it. Let's do it. We got it. And it was just one after another. And I think it went on for almost a year. If you want to comment, you know who you are. If you want to comment, go for it. If not, it's fine too. But it happened for like over a year, about a year of the time we were working together. And it was just all these things kept happening. And I'll tell you, she was frustrated. Yes, she was frustrated. But, and recently she really realized this, is that what was really happening is every single one of those sessions we were brainstorming, we were talking through the decision making, we were breaking down the problems and trying to solve them in alignment with what we wanted to achieve, what she wanted for her life. And we were doing that over and over and over and over again. And what she realized is she developed the skill for herself. Instead of frustration and panic now when something comes up, shouldn't have that. There's no panic. There's no like the frustration. It's just like, okay, this is something that's coming up I got to deal with. That's it. You got to deal with it. She has confidence that she can handle it because she can. So freaking proud of her too. She can handle it. Okay? She developed that skill by through us working and doing it over and over and over again, and now she does it. She can do it for herself. That's one of the things, the beauties of these things is really if you can find those things in your life and you can find the wisdom and the growth that you can feel as a person in those obstacles, that's the mindset right there. That is so key, and it will unlock so much for you. There, what's even more than that is as you start achieving higher levels of wealth, whatever that looks like for yourself, moving past, my 20-year-old person that wanted a, walk-in closet. That was my idea of wealth at the time. Now at 36, it's more like, okay, well, I don't want anyone to have to pay me. I want to be in control of my income. I want to have multiple streams of income. I want to be able to have businesses running my income. I don't want to have my husband have to go to work if he didn't want to, right? And so that's a higher level of wealth, and it's not easy. But if I hadn't done and achieved a lot of the things that I've done and had to go through the obstacles that my husband and I have had to go through, I wouldn't be prepared for that. I wouldn't be able to work towards that as easily. I would be so freaking stuck instead of seeing movement and momentum building for that. Okay. Wealth goals, they aren't achieved overnight. It's sometimes we get stuck. That's why my clients are having so much success with my intentional spending method. In phase one, we streamline your money system. We make sure it's working for you so you're turning your resources into your wealth goals, right? So you can check every single one of those things off your list, right? In phase two, we're working on the money mindset. This is important. Like I've said over and over and over again, you need to have a healthy relationship with money in order to achieve your goals. You can't prioritize your goals if you cannot you can't continue to prioritize your goals when you're worrying about different decisions that you're making. Your mindset will influence your decisions. You will end up regretting your decisions if your mindset isn't there, if the money mindset isn't there. I promise you. Phase three, we work on that wealth focused action plan I told you about. My very unique way that I've developed in help you stay focused for life so that you can achieve any wealth goal you set for yourself. I love helping moms unlock this for their life and to see like the wealth that they can bring into their life and to feel those feelings and have those emotional connections and those emotional milestones, and seeing that happen for a client is probably it totally makes my day, makes my week, makes my month sometimes. I just feel so much joy in doing that. So before we recap for tonight, I want to actually invite those of you that are ready for this change, that you're hearing this and you're like, yes, Erica, let me do it. Let's do it. I want you to take action towards figuring out your finances and get to the life that you want to be living. So if this sounds like you, let's book a wealth audit. Okay. It's a 30-minute call. It's free. We'll talk about your current system for building wealth. You have one, whether you know it or not. We'll discuss the opportunities that you can actually have, to streamline that system so that you can reduce stress. So even if you don't decide that you want to work with me, you're still going to have some clarity. You're going to know what you can do to try to make things work out, start working in the right direction. And then finally, if you do decide you do want to, we'll talk about how my intentional spending method is completely unique and how it can help you get past your obstacles. Like I said earlier, get past those obstacles and see that change in your life. So I'm going to put that link in the comment as usual. But let's review for this because this has gone way longer than I thought it should. But I'm really passionate about this topic and really seeing this as not just an event, it's a journey, it's a lifelong journey. And so I'm very passionate about it. And so I had a lot to say. So let's review about it. So first we talked about, understanding how wealth is emotional and our past achievements can actually help us see the pattern and what makes us happy and content and can help us define wealth. for ourselves and give us that compass to moving forward whenever we do want to, when we achieve goals, to say what's next. Next, we talked about how to bring those really, really big goals into our daily lives by making the goals small enough to compete with our day-to-day decisions, our day-to-day priorities. And third, we talked about what it means to be wealth focused, the mindset that's required to help shift how you view obstacles that will get thrown in your way. So I hope this has been very helpful for you. Please drop in the comments, let me know your thoughts, and or questions. If you have questions, happy to answer those as well. Drop them in the comments. We go live most Tuesdays, assuming there's no illness, most Tuesdays. And if you have not voted on October's trainings yet, again, go to the pin post at the top of the group and vote. I will be putting out the next event here in the next few days. So if you haven't done it yet, do it as soon as you can. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I will see you guys next week. Have a great night.